Welcome back to the Vegans Who Live podcast. We have your favorite vegans here. We got Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle, and myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan. We got a great episode for y'all today. So we're going to be talking about leaving the 9 to 5 and finding the 9 to 9. No.
Seriously, yeah. Yeah, but starting your own business, this is something so many people want to do and don't do. Or they just don't know how to get started. They don't know how to take the risk. So we're going to be talking mindset. That's a huge part of it. The steps we took, how we managed our time, all of the things that you guys need to know if you're looking to start your own business. And it's even more about that, but just taking risk in general, believing in yourself. So, it could be leaving the 9 to 5, but really insert whatever dream you have here. That's what this episode is about. Taking the chance, believing in yourself, going after your dreams.
I agree with Brooke. Quite often now, when something seems uncomfortable, scary, difficult, or like maybe I'm not quite good enough for it yet, that's when I'm like, this is where I need to dive into. This is what I need to find out. I need to find out if I'm good enough for this or not. It's funny. It's you hear the no risk, no reward. And it's just so true. It's so true. And it's okay to take risks. I mean, I now have a successful coaching business. We have a successful so far Vegans Who Live Coaching Academy. I'm about to start the 3rd month here of that. I also have a number of, I'll say, failed businesses on the side. And not everything is going to be a home run, so to speak. And you won't know until you try. So got a lot of, I think mindset's going to be the biggest part, but a lot of practical application to this as well. So we have no script. We're just going off the rip, and it's going to be great. I'm drinking / eating my iced coffee because I had my teeth extracted. They said you can't use a spoon. And I was like, well, or not. Like, you can use a spoon. Can't use a straw. Another S word. Straw. Yes. Anyways, can't use a straw. And you also can't drink hot coffee because, like, I don't know. I guess you don't want to lose the blood clot. So I was like, what can I do to get my caffeine and artificial sweetener addiction taken care of? I'll just make iced coffee, blend it, and eat it with a spoon. And now I kind of like that. So I do it a lot. But then I'm running late, and it has my lion's mane mushroom in there. So I was like, I need to get this before the episode starts. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna drink this. Brooke, you can.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, drink your artificial sweeteners and caffeine in there, and we'll chug them down. Well, we could start with our wins since you're still chugging your mix there down, your elixir. I can start with my win. So my win for the week, I'm really excited. I mean, I know I haven't really talked about this on socials or on the podcast that much, maybe a little bit on socials, but I mean, I know, John, that I've been trying to like cut some weight forever, and it's just been really challenging. Ever since my last show, like I had the gut issues, and then like you're not partitioning nutrients correctly, so like you can't worry about like changing your composition and building muscle like when you're fixing your gut. So that was like my top priority for a really long time, like probably 8 months or so. And then after that, I was like having some thyroid issues. And then, I was getting really frustrated because I was like doing 15,000 steps a day. Eventually my coach increased me to 16,000. So I was doing 16,000 steps a day. I had pretty low macros too. And I've been doing this for months. And it was like maybe a half a pound a week. Like it didn't feel like the effort I was putting in was really worth the award. Like I know after so long it would add up, but like half a pound is like nothing when you're doing like 15,000 steps a day, training really hard, eating like 140 grams of carbs, and then, I got really frustrated with the scale. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to not weigh myself for 2 weeks because I was kind of feeling like I'd weigh myself, it'd ruin my day. And then I would feel less motivated. Just after months and months and months of like not really seeing it budge. And then I didn't weigh myself for 2 weeks. And then I weighed myself this week to check in with my coach. I was like so nervous. I was like holding my breath because I knew I was going to be super discouraged because I had like 100% prep compliance, 100%. and I lost 6 pounds in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, cool. So I don't, I don't know exactly like what did it. Um, I haven't changed that many variables. So I don't know if it was just the stress maybe of like psychological stress of stressing myself out about it, feeling kind of hard on myself, beating myself up. But I was like really shocked. So now I'm just like hoping I can keep going because I really wanted to maybe do a show this year, maybe do a show, but mostly I just want to get to a place where I feel really comfortable again. Like I feel good. I fit in my clothes that I love, my cute clothes, and I feel like I could do a photo shoot, take some content, stuff like that. So yeah, that's exciting. That's my win for the week.
Hell yeah, dude. Of course, my coaching brain is like trying to pick it apart and do what I do when a client checks in. But I mean, props to you. Perfect compliance for 2 weeks. Clearly, the plan is working now. I don't know if maybe there would have been some variables unaccounted for that snuck in before, maybe some meals off plan or things like that, but it's working now. I was concerned because your step count was so high, like 15, 16,000 steps. That's nuts. That's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude. Okay, I'm gonna be a coach. How is gym
Yeah.
performing?
So last week, now, okay, so I will say this, but this is the crazy thing. So I've been on, I've been on T3 and T4. And you saw my blood work, and my T3 and my T4 were like crazy off the charts. And um so my coach ended up being like, all right, you need to come off the T3 and T4 like immediately. Because it was just too high. So I came off of it, but that was only like 3 or 4 days ago. So I can't imagine that would have created like a 6-pound difference in just a few days. I don't know. My boyfriend's a hormone doctor, and he had all these reasons. Like basically he was saying like, if your T3 is too high, you have a really hard time flushing out inflammation. And so that could have been a big component there too. And I will say my gym performance really, really sucked like last week. It's gotten better this week, but man, it was like a 10-pound decrease almost every exercise. Some exercise, like big movements, like 20 pounds. And I was like, what is happening? But the T3 just jacked me up so much. Like I just kind of felt like I had anxiety because I'm just an
Mhm.
anxious, kind of high-strung person anyway. So to me, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just probably a little more anxious than usual. And I also cut out caffeine forever, and then I just started having coffee again. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, coffee's too much for me. Got to go back to no caffeine. But I was still jacked up. And then and then after like looking at my blood work, my boyfriend was like, this is why. This is why your gym performance sucks. This is why you're having terrible anxiety. I was having like the shakes. I was like, last week I started getting this eye twitch, which was
Yeah.
weird. And I started looking up like all the like deficiencies that could lead to twitching. And I didn't have any. Like I eat really good. So I was like, I don't know what this could be, but the T3 was like really, really throwing me off. So I came off that. I came off the T4. Other than that, the only, which, like I said, was not 2 weeks worth of being off the medication. It was just 3 days or so. But who knows? Sometimes you get crazy drops like that. The only other thing that I introduced was Brazil nuts because I know they're like super good, like tons of selenium content. And I had Caitlin, Caitlin in our academy, she said she was on thyroid medication for a really long time. She started doing some Brazil nuts every morning. She was actually able to totally come off of it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that, but it can't hurt, right? Like it can't hurt just by me eating 2 Brazil nuts a day. Like it's nothing bad is going to happen. So I might as well try it. So for your coaching brain, those are the two variables that have kind of changed.
Oh yeah, the wheels are turning right now.
Yeah.
We hit so much stuff. I want to slow it down for our listeners that might not know. So T3 and T4, those are one, they are medications, but they are also blood work values that we can monitor to see how well our thyroid is functioning. When we have a properly functioning thyroid, we have thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. I'm like 99% sure that's correct. That tells our thyroid basically to go ahead and make this thyroid hormone to help our bodies burn fat, use energy up. So if I'm correct, we make T4 and then T4 is converted into T3. So you could have issues with your thyroid. You could have issues with not making enough T4. You could have issues with making plenty of T4, but it not converting to T3. So the thyroid is a little bit of a a tricky beast, so to say. And so in Brooke's case, you can take T4, you can take T3, you can take a combination. However, if you jack them up, you are going to get anxiety. Your gym performance is going to go to shit because you're going to get, if you're very lean, you'll get very stringy. Like that's like a very sciencey technical term, stringy, but basically flat and not a whole lot of energy in your muscles. I wouldn't be surprised if that pushed your cortisol higher and then retained water. So that would explain that. There's no way Brooke lost 6 pounds of fat in 2 weeks, but probably a few pounds of fat paired with a few pounds of water, and getting herself back to where she was. So that's where my coaching brain went. As far as the selenium, you can get it from Brazil nuts. You can take it in a capsule. I have all of my clients that get into a prep or coming out of a prep. We will run selenium, iodine, have a diet support product, and I forget there's another thing in there that I specifically use that one for. I don't recall the name. And then also ashwagandha. So all those can help with stress and keeping your thyroid functioning properly. All of those are over the counter, no prescription or anything needed. But definitely not a bad thing to have in play. I mean, I take part of that year round myself just to keep me in a good spot, even if I'm not using any T3 for prep or anything like that. So another reason, guys, you need to get your blood work done. So otherwise you wouldn't have
Yes.
known.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got blood work done because what I think is the issue is obviously so having SIBO, there's a strong correlation between SIBO having gut issues and having a downregulated thyroid. So I feel like we had blood work while my gut was still fucked up, and then it was like, oh yeah, you got hypothyroidism, and now my gut's fine. I've been fine for months, and my thyroid maybe just came back online, but I didn't need the medication anymore. I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened, but that's kind of my guess because my gut has been fine for, I mean, since like your show, which was
Mm-hmm.
October. So yeah, I don't know, but look, I'm happy about it. Whatever happened, so I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep rolling, doing what I'm doing.
Well, I hope we get a similar win next week. I'll be looking out for that. For me, I had to think what day it was. I've had to think what day it was every day for like the last week. I cannot. I'm surprised I'm here right now. I'm all over the place. However, I have not figured out how to become more balanced in any sense of the word, other than assigning time to where I'm not doing something. So it's not like I can just kind of casually have a night off. I have to like assign myself, okay, from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m., you're not working. And that's the only way I've been able to make it happen. But I think I talked about this last week. I'll just rehash it in case maybe somebody's brand new. If you're brand new, you're awesome. Make sure you subscribe and you share it to all your friends. Alex's goats, send it everywhere. But I had with talking with my girlfriend Allie, she had explained from her perspective how much I'm working, and I've heard it from you for years, Brooke, and I heard it from my dad until he passed, and I never listened to anyone that said I should slow down. I've wanted to for a while, and so I met with Sean, he handles my brand, but he also handles me because I'm part of my brand. And we set 3 goals. One goal was to have social media free Sundays. I modified that goal to where I can still go on Instagram as a user, but not as a contributor. Like I don't leave comments. I don't make posts. I don't get in engagement groups. Basically, if I just want to scroll, and I scrolled for like 15 minutes on Sunday, and that was about it. I replied to a photographer that wanted to do a photo shoot. That I felt I could do. Um, so I'm proud of myself for that, taking a slight step back there, because for a while now, I've posted every day on Instagram, and then there was a 2-year period where I ran 2 accounts, posting twice a day every single time for those 2 years, including Christmas. Like even Christmas, I still posted twice a day. I don't know. I was hustling. Then what else? I've told myself I would block some days off on my calendar where I don't assign myself extra work. So like I keep my base level of work, my clients, if I have like today the podcast, that's an obligation, but I don't add on 3 other podcasts and exploratory calls with potential clients, and just like to where I have like literally 15 things on my calendar. I've stopped doing that a few days a week. And then the last thing was to go actually meet Allie's sisters. I've known her for over 2 months, and so she lives with one of them. So it's like I've never even been to her house in 2 months. So let me go over there. We played some dominoes, and I got off my phone and just was present. And I'm proud of myself. So that's a big win of the week. Like I've done it once, which means I can do it again.
Damn.
It's
Well,
almost like
I am so, so, so proud of you. So proud of you. And so happy for you because, like, it got to a while there. It's like every time we talked, like, you pick up the phone, I could just hear it in your voice. Like, you were just overworked and you were overstressed. I'm just like, man, he needs a day off. And so I thank the universe for Allie, putting Allie in your life, because I think Allie, especially just like who she is and her nature, she's like a very present, centered person. So I think she's really kind of rubbed off on you in that way. And yeah, you really really needed it. Truly, like, for me, I feel like cuz I mean, I love my community. I absolutely love my clients. I love everyone that I interact with on a weekly basis, but it's still a lot. It's a lot of people to keep in contact with. And then you do have the difficult people here and there. Social media is hard. Like, I posted a very vulnerable post about my weight gain, and I had this chick, trying to give me advice on my posts, just stuff like that. And it's constant. Every week I get stuff like that. And like, you can always talk about, like, don't let it get to you. There's strangers on the internet, but it kind of does. So like, by the time Friday rolls around, I'm like, I'm done peopling. Like, I need to not people for a minute, So like, having like even just one day, like Sunday off, like, because usually I'll work half Saturday night and Sunday off. Like, by the time Monday comes around, I'm like ready to do it all over again.
Yeah. I should have listened to my dad. I should have listened to you. I'm not always a great listener. If I hire somebody and I pay them to tell me what to do, I usually listen. I think the beauty of it with Allie, she never told me to do anything. She just demonstrated in her own life, hey, I had a rough day or whatever. I'm taking a few hours to go journal, meditate, and recenter myself before going back to work. And I'm just like, wow, like that's pretty freaking cool. That's not something I've ever done. Um, and just seeing her like, oh, hey, it's getting late. I'm gonna go to bed because I have to get up early tomorrow. And like, whereas I'm like, oh, it's midnight and I could work on one more plan before going to bed. Like, just watching somebody do, and I guess it's almost like me. I don't go around the world yelling at people telling them to go vegan. I just try and show them they can and how easy and how fun it can be and how great it can be. And she's basically showing me that with being present and healthy. That's it. It's just healthy. So I told her though, I thought about it. My initial reaction, um, much the same as when I went through that big breakup in 2022, the life changing one. I remember calling Alyssa and saying, I figured it out. I'm going to become the best person I can be so that I'll be the best partner for the next person I'm with. And Alyssa's like, why don't you just become the best person for yourself? And that kind of popped into my head. I told Allie, I said, you've been right. I see the way you're living your life. I need to do that, but I can't do that for you. I won't do that for you because I don't know the future. Something could happen to you in 2 weeks. And then what? I get off this journey of trying to heal myself and be balanced. No, I can't do it for you. I need to do it for me. And then by putting myself first and taking care of myself, I'll be able to be a better partner. So yeah, that's for me, that's a big win. It's a long time coming. I was gonna get a rose on this hand so that I got my V tattoo on my right hand and I want a rose on my left hand because my dad used to always say, stop and smell the roses. So somebody can ask me what is that, and I can just like smell my hand and be like, stop and smell the roses. But I would have been such a hypocrite if I had done that. And I feel like I need to prove myself for at least the rest of this month, maybe some of the next month, and then go get a tattoo. I already found my artist. It's a guy that's Cuban. Allie's Cuban. Her family's Cuban. And this guy speaks no English, and he lives in my neighborhood, and he tattoos people out of his apartment complex. So not going to name him because I don't know if, well, actually, I don't know if that's illegal or not. Anyways, Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
don't
one
know.
way you could leave your 9 to 5 is just start tattooing people out of your house.
Another
um,
thing I was gonna say about you though is like I feel like you've been hustling for a really long time. And so like just to get where you want to be. So it's just really what you know. Like you know working hard, going after what you want, no days off until you get to your goal. And I feel like you're kind of at that place now. Like I remember you saying yesterday on our academy call, like I'm here to help you guys. I have plenty of one-on-one clients and you know that so now it's like you can kind of sit back and enjoy what you've built, enjoy what you've created and not really work yourself to death like you were because now you're at that point you're at the point that you've worked so hard for. Like I know you still have other goals and things you want to do, but you're just in a different place now. So you can take that Sunday off for yourself. Like you have people coming to you. And we have so many other people that we're helping and that are actively in our community. So taking that time off for yourself is not going to hurt you.
yeah, thank you. You're definitely right. And when I left the 9 to 5 to somewhat tie it back into that, like my whole goal was to pay my bills. That was all I was concerned about was money. And I think that's okay. It's not like I was money centric. Like money's the only thing that matters. Like my family still matters, whatever. But like my main goal is to be able to pay my bills, and I can do that now. I could rest. I could just about cut my client load in half and pay my bills. Now, thank you, Sean. And I'll even go as far to say thank you, Brent, for bringing charity into my life. That's where I want to be now. I want to make a difference, and that's where it's hard because for me, at least, I know this isn't the case for everybody. Once I hit a number in my bank account, I won't need to see a bigger number than that. I'll be happy. I'll be fine. However, I don't know if there will ever be enough of a number of animals saved or factory farms shut down. I guess until the number of factory farms that currently exist is zero, I won't be fully happy. And it will be a calculated pullback on Sundays that, okay, I'm taking Sunday off and it's not because I'm selfish and it's not because I don't care about these animals and it's not because I don't want to change the world. It's that I won't be able to change the world in 3 to 5 years, more like 30 to 50. And if I go at this pace, I'm probably going to kill myself in the next 5 years. So I I need to slow down so that I can be in this for the long term. And I'm seeing that from you, and I respect the hell out of that. Where I've asked to call you on Sundays, and you're like, nope, today I'm busy. And I'm like, man, I love Brooke. I love that she loves herself this much. Like it's inspiring to me. So yeah. Anyways, um,
Good
super.
wins.
Yeah, good wins on both. I think. I mean, we're both healthier in different ways, physically,
Oh,
mentally. And you were talking about all those people. We got one awesome person, Tyler Grimm. He's a friend of mine, a friend through Instagram. I've made a lot of those. He did drop us a voice question, so remind me before this episode ends to play that so that we can get back to him and anybody else. If you want to go ahead and what was the URL? Damn it.
vegansexplorer.com.
Oh, veganswholiftpodcast.com. Yeah, that's easy.
Okay.
Veganswholiftpodcast.com. If you want to leave us a question, have us answer it live for you, go ahead on over there. We'd love to do it. It's fun. It's like a way for us to keep up with people. Anyways, what do we? Oh, Shaker
Game.
Cup game. Yeah,
Shaker
game.
Cup game. Got it right here.
We've got the formula
Right.
down, dude. We don't even need a script. Look at us.
I know.
It's like we've been friends for a few years.
Okay, this one's I did put they're on post-it notes. This one got stuck together. Okay, this one's kind of fun. What is a trait or behavior you find very unattractive, but someone else may find attractive? That's a tough one. I got to think about that one too.
Does trait mean like physical characteristic or more of like, are we thinking like personality?
Either one. Either one is fine.
Ooh, you know what? I got a good one. I think I got a good one. One that I
Okay.
find attractive and somebody else might not.
Well, it was actually the opposite. Something you find
Oh.
unattractive, but somebody
Oh.
else might find attractive. Although we could do the reverse.
All right. Well, I got kind of the same here. I
Okay.
kind of reversed my answer. I find it attractive, like if I'm talking about like a partner, like a romantic partner, when they have their own opinions and can justify them and speak up about them. So, like, I don't want to be with, I guess it would be a yes woman if I was with a woman that just agrees with me on everything. Because then I never get challenged. I never get a chance to level up or question what I'm doing. I mean, even to the sense of Allie wanted to redo the cabinets here, and I was like, no, I know where everything is. It's all in its perfect spot. And then like I was in the room while she started to reorganize it, and I was just thinking, no, 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 no. And I eventually just left. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. But now I've readjusted and it's actually a lot better. So I'm glad she spoke up. But in my past, I've dated women that were like yes women and just agreed with everything I said, which makes it seem easy. But then like I don't feel like you're even really getting to know that person. And I think the reason why other people might find that unattractive is there are a number of men out there that just kind of want to speak as if they're God and let the woman listen and then follow their orders or listen to like I don't want that. I want people in my life that challenge me. Everybody in my life that is a nice person that challenges me makes me better. So um yeah, that's my trait, I guess. Well, I think we should do
Okay.
one like one that is not
One that is
physical and one that is
attractive and then
physical.
okay, and then a physical and a
Yeah.
non-physical. Okay.
So that was my
Hmm.
non-physical. You can
Okay,
try
my
that.
non-physical. Okay, so we're reversing it. What we do find attractive. That's what I'll do since that's what you did. So something I find attractive that maybe other people wouldn't find attractive. I like when guys can be real vulnerable. Like I like honestly, I like a guy who can cry. Like like even if it's just something corny like a sad movie or something or like, like I like a guy who can be open about their feelings and not have to be hardcore all the time. And I know some people, I do think a lot of women value that, but I know that there are these expectations of men that they have to be strong, they have to support everyone. They can't cry, they can't be vulnerable. But I really find that attractive. Just anyone who can be their authentic self to me, whether that's being emotional, another one being really goofy and silly. Like I'm really goofy and silly, especially when I smoke. So I like somebody who can be goofy and silly too. Like I don't want somebody who always feels like they have to wear a mask and they have to be a certain way because that's what society expects of them. So that would be my non-physical.
Cool. Yeah, I can't get through the Lion King whether I'm 3 or 31 without crying.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
when Simba finds his dad dead. Wow. I just thought about this now that like my dad is dead. Um shit, I think I probably cried more during the Lion King. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyways, isn't that funny? Like we fall in love with these fake animals that speak, but then we eat them. We eat real animals. Not anymore, but we used to. Anyways,
Yep.
sorry, I'm all over the place. Does Steve cry?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
he cries during movies and I love it. I forget
yeah.
what movie we were watching the other day. Damn, I
I
wish I could remember it. But he got a little teary-eyed and I was like, "Are you crying?"
I think that's a good sign of like your empathy. If a movie can move you so much, and maybe like you said, you're in tune with yourself. If you're in tune with yourself, if you don't block off everything that's hard and sad and don't let it near you, then you are going to be more likely to cry during a movie like that.
Oh, I
What's
remembered what it was. Have you seen The Parent Trap?
It's been a long time. That's with Lindsay Lohan, right?
The old one, like from the
Yeah.
60s.
Oh no.
So
You
we
like
so
those old movies.
I do like old movies. Steve turned me on to that. But so I loved the Lindsay Lohan one, but we watched the one from the 60s and it was really good. And we both cried at the end when the mom and dad like get back together. Like it was like a happy cry. It's just so cute. Like I can't help it. I'm a big crier though. Like movies and music really really move me. So I'm definitely like I can't watch Old Yeller or like don't even speak to me about Marley and Me. Like it's not happening.
That's funny. Okay, this draws me in. All right, we're going off on tangents, but you know what? It's our podcast. We do whatever the hell we want. Do you watch Ricky Gervais at all?
No, I don't.
So get this, dude. I got a little high the other night, and I told Ali I wanted to kind of just zone out, not do anything important. I was like, let's watch this guy because we started Roadhouse on Amazon. Oh my god, that might be the worst movie I've seen in like the last decade. We got like halfway through it, and we both at the same scene were like, okay, we're done. Like literally at the same time. Like, so it's like Jake Gyllenhaal is this fighter, I guess based on the old Roadhouse movie. And at the point that we turned it off, I'm sorry if this spoils it for anyone else, but they were joking about this being a crocodile in like the Keys, in Florida Keys, like oh this like crazy crocodile, whatever. And then the bad guy shows up at his boat, and then they fight, and he like kicks him into the water. And then the guy's like, "You should have killed me," and he's like, "I don't have to." And then the crocodile just eats this guy in half. I'm like, we're not watching Jaws. We're not watching like crazy crocodile movie. We're watching a movie that's supposed to be about a bar and fighting. And this dude just got eaten by a car. Anyways, we turned that off. Turned on Ricky Gervais. I had never like watched any of his recent stuff. He's vegan, and he uses his comedy to promote veganism and social issues. It really, whatever the most recent one, I think it was 2023 on Netflix. Find that one. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry, but if you have Netflix, just type in Ricky, you'll see it. Armageddon, it might have been called. I could be wrong, but it's
Okay.
about kind of like how he thinks the world is going to end, and like, but the whole like thing at the end was about how there's this website, Does the Dog Die? And like all these people watch like these movies and they can't watch a dog die. And I'm thinking about it from the vegan side. And then he's even like talking about Schindler's List, which is about the Holocaust. And people are asking, does the dog die? It's like, do we care about, I care about dogs, but like 6 million people died. And you're asking if there's a dog death on the screen. This is a little ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, so he's huge vegan. And it inspired me because he's smart. He's not a vegan out there parading vegan themes. He's a comedian. Comedians can reach all people. And then he can sprinkle in this message and get all people thinking, not just the people that are already vegan, that are already like that. So it made me think like, okay, I'm a bodybuilder so that I have a platform so that I can speak about being vegan. And he's got his comedy thing and he's on Netflix. He's reaching probably damn near billions of people. What can I do to be more like that? So, anyways, big tangent, but Ricky Gervais, I suggest you get high and watch one of his. You'll enjoy it. You and Steve could
I will
laugh. It's
watch it.
goofy. Let me know what you think. We could talk about it next week. Anyways, we're all over the place. Yeah, people are like, when do I find out how to quit my job? That's what I've been waiting for this whole time. Well, first, I got to talk about physical attributes. So I'll say it. I wasn't always like this. Like when I was 16, I was not like this. But now I like a woman with some muscle. I think it's being around the gym. And I think it's almost more, it's not even so much about how much muscle. It's that if the woman takes care of herself and goes to the gym, Allie, she does. And even if they're not like super jacked, it's like I appreciate the intensity, the drive, the effort, the consistency, and the love for yourself that it takes. I guess it wouldn't have to be the gym. They could be a sprinter. They could be a whatever. Like if I'm getting my choice and I'm picking a woman, someone that takes care of themselves physically, not even so much for the looks, but just because of the effort that goes in. So that's one I'll say. I know some guys don't like their girl to work out. To each their own.
I'm gonna have to steal that one. That was mine too. I've been seeing these videos go around, where like there'll be some guy with like a mic and he'll interview people on the street, and they were this is really funny. I don't know if you've seen this video, but he was interviewing a group of girls and he was basically like, would you rather have a guy with muscles or a guy with a dad bod? And a lot of girls said dad bod. And it was really funny. Their responses, like they're like, why would you choose a guy who has a dad bod. And most of the girls were pretty honest, and they were just like, well, a guy with a lot of muscles is usually egotistical, like he's full of himself, he's selfish, like all this stuff. He's going to spend more time in the gym than he's going to spend time with me. And then some of the girls were even more honest and were like, well, you know, I'm not in good shape. So if I was dating a guy who was in really good shape, I'd be really insecure and there'd probably be girls all over him all the time. So I thought it was interesting that they had that perspective. One particularly funny video, I don't know if you've seen this one, but they showed these girls a picture of Sebum and they were like, what do you think about Sebum? And they were like, oh, he's got a dad bod. Like, no, I'm not interested. Like, and I'm like, what is a dad bod to you? Like, he
That's
was
a
in off
daddy
season.
bod.
I know, right? Like he was in off season. He had like a little bit more body fat, but like still, like the guy's like, you know, top 1% in the world. And they're like, no, I'll pass. He's got a dad bod. Like when I think dad bod, I think like a giant like beer gut belly, you know, like I don't think
Mm,
sebum. I don't know what's wrong with
no.
people.
Well, I think the first part you hit on, I think it's so true. It's like if I don't go to the gym, if my partner does and they look great, then somebody's going to steal them. Or I have to watch my partner having good habits all the time. And then I have to completely justify to myself why I can't do what they're doing. I think I could go for vegan, that could
Yep.
go for the gym, that could go for taking days off from work, like any of those things. If your partner's doing it and doing a better job than you, you're probably going to be not feeling great about yourself. Um, I had one more thought and then I forgot it. Um, I think that insecurity though, like that's a
Yeah.
big one. I knew coming out of my last relationship, I'm gonna have to find a special woman that's okay with me having multiple best friends that are women, multiple clients that are women, multiple friends in the gym that are like I used to never have female friends. I was really scared to talk to women. I don't know. But now, about probably half the people in my life are women. Statistically, that makes sense. So I just knew whoever I was with was going to have to be really secure with themselves and not have a whole lot of like jealousy or insecurity things because I'm constantly surrounded by women. But that doesn't mean it has to be inappropriate or anything. Like, I don't know. And I've become. I used to be that way too when I was younger. Like even in a couple relationships ago, if my girlfriend was like hanging out with her guy friend, I'd be like, "What are y'all doing? Like, why are you hanging out? Why aren't you hanging out with me? What's he got that I don't got? He don't even go to the gym." And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've become that person." So yeah. Anyways, all right, I am really on a tangent today. This is me, completely sober, just high on life, and a little bit of caffeine.
That's the
Oh
ticket.
God, my coach updated our athlete check-in form. It included total stimulant usage in milligrams. I was just like, do I lie or do I
Oh my
tell the
gosh.
truth? I put a sliding scale. I said 500 to 750 milligrams of caffeine. I think that's probably reasonable. My pre-workout is 250. So like on training days, I'm at least getting 250 and then whatever half of a pot of coffee is at least.
Well, at
At
least
least.
you're a big guy.
Yeah, there we go. Just get bigger so you can use more caffeine. Um, all right. Well, we are a solid
Here we go.
39 minutes
Yeah.
into this, and we haven't given anybody any advice on how to leave their job. All right. So you find your boss, you say, "I'm fucking done. I quit," and then you walk out. And that's how you do it. That's how you leave your 9 to 5.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's one way to do it for sure. It's a funny story for me though. In a way, I definitely didn't say fuck you, but it was definitely in my mind when I was putting my resignation in. But I was working at a bank. I guess we could just tell our stories first if you want, and then get into
yeah.
it.
Give some
Yeah.
backstory. How old were you when you got your first job?
Oh, well, my first job, I think I was 17. I worked at Burger King while I was still in school.
My
Yeah.
God, you've come so far. They didn't even have the Impossible Whopper back then, did they?
Oh no, I wasn't vegan yet though at 17. But I was terrible. I would go into work and I'd be like super hungover and like eat a bunch of chicken nuggets and fries and stuff. And they had breakfast and anyways,
Wait. You said 17 and hungover?
yes.
All right, at least you're honest. I actually started
Yeah, it was
drinking at
terrible.
16. I probably drank more from
Okay.
16 to 18 than 18 plus. But anyways,
Same.
um,
I know, because like when you're a teenager, you think it's cool, and then like now I'm like, "Ugh, you couldn't pay me to drink, really. Like I don't want to wake up hungover the next day. I want to go work out."
shout out to my client. He just relived my early 20s. He's like, dude, I think I gave myself PTSD. I drank so much. I threw up for 5 hours and then like couldn't lift for the next 4 days. And I was like, all right.
Sometimes you need that experience. That was definitely me. Like I think when I think I finally stopped drinking in my teens at some point, because I had just some horrible sickness from a bunch of rum, and now like if I smell rum, I just can't do it. Like I want to vomit. It was just too much. And yeah, like I want to feel good. Like I want to get up the next day and work out and go walk, and like it's life is just better when you're not hungover, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, no doubt I have some fun memories from when I got fucked up and drank.
Yeah,
But what did I ever do? Like, what did I do that contributed to my current life?
exactly. Nothing.
Nothing, nothing. And good
And don't drink your
Lord,
calories.
there's a number of days where had I just not gotten lucky, I could have ended my life or someone else's. Like, drinking is, I mean, you think you can do stupid things. Well, you can do stupid things. You allow yourself to do stupid things.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so, so I would go, sober up with the hash browns in the morning, because they have breakfast, so, that's what I would typically do, but then eventually what's that?
Sorry. I just have to say this. The French toast sticks are vegan, and I haven't had them since I was a
Oh,
kid.
shit, no way! Well, I
Yeah.
used to love those.
We gotta try those sometime. We got
We
I
need to do it.
haven't probably in like 20 years had those, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Cool. Well, yeah, so Burger King, I could tell so many stories about that. That's like a whole nother podcast, but it was terrible. Like I was treated like shit. I got fed up. I ended up just calling in one day and I said, "Hey, I quit." Like that was it. I just didn't show up. And then my next job, I worked at a dog daycare, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I loved that job. It was very hard. I would get like 25,000 steps a day. I lost a ton of weight during that job, but it was a lot of fun. Like I love it. I love animals. I love dogs. So it was a blast. And I did that all the way through college. And I kind of got out of college and then thought to myself, well, my dream was to be a personal trainer like I'm doing now. But at that time, I don't know. I guess I didn't see the potential of an online business there. So I started out working at like this gym in person, which is like, I look back now and I'm like, God, I went to college for 4 years and then I was working at a gym as a personal trainer. My parents probably were just like face palm. But anyways, not that they even paid for it, had to pay a lot for it because I actually had a scholarship. So but still, so I was working at this gym and it was absolutely terrible. It wasn't your commercial gym, it was like a family owned gym. And I pretty much made no money. I was so broke. And they were really, really hard on me. I was like the new kid basically in the gym. So I had to do all the stuff everybody didn't want to do, like mop the floors at midnight when we closed. And I mean, I was working like 12 hours a day. I was so overworked. My boss was like my trainer coach. And at the time, she didn't feel like I was lean enough. So she had me like dieting down hardcore. But she had at this point, I was vegan. She had no idea how to work with vegan diets. So like my diet was terrible. But like if she saw me eating something off my diet, she would like just absolutely like flip her shit out on me, embarrass me in front of everybody. Like it was like a really toxic kind of environment. From being just so overworked, stressed out, under eating, I eventually hurt my back deadlifting. She wouldn't let me out of teaching classes and stuff like that. So I ended up having to quit. And I kind of felt like my dream was over. Like, you know, personal training, not exactly what I thought it was. There's no money there. I this just wasn't what I expected it to be. So then I kind of fell back on my degree. My mom's a banker, so I started banking, and that was absolutely miserable. So like I absolutely hated it. People treat you like shit. It was like very stressful. Every time it's like Friday or the end of a quarter or the end of a month. I mean, it was just like absolute chaos in there. We were so busy all the time. And it was around like COVID. Uh
Okay.
the pandemic that I just kind of had this idea that, and I had a lot of people asking me for help because I had already at this time probably been working out a few years. and made a pretty decent transformation, like nowhere like where I am now, but I looked really good. And so I had people asking me, if they could get some advice, get some help, and I was just doing it on the side, really, really cheap, almost for nothing, pretty much like $50, just to help my friends, help people out. And then I just kind of got this idea, like, this might be kind of cool. I'll start an Instagram and just see what happens, and, maybe post some workouts, stuff like that. And it just kind of took off. My first business coach, Julian Hero, I believe that's how you say his name. I don't know how to say his last name exactly. Jack Vegan. So he reached out to me. He came across my page. Have you ever thought about vegan coaching, like being a vegan coach online? I was like, yeah, I have, but like, this was my excuse. You're going to love this, because this this is going to sound like so many people that we talked to. I was like, yeah, I thought so, but like, I don't have a good camera. Like, I don't really have a good like setup yet. Like, I don't really have like a nice laptop or really any of the equipment to like have an online business. And he's like, you don't need any of that. Like, you don't need any of that shit. You can just start doing that. You can start coaching now. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, like, you have a great physique, you know your stuff, like there's no reason you can't. And so we ended up getting on a call. I ended up going through the business coaching course, and long story short, it just really took off. It was kind of the right skill set at the right time, because everybody was working out at home. Everybody was on social media because there was not shit to do. Everybody was like in lockdown in their houses, right? And so within 3 months, I was able to quit my job. And then, like you said, in a similar way, again at the bank, it was a toxic environment. People were shitty. People were mean to me. It was catty. It was just not a good place to work. And eventually, I would be like working and answering emails and updating programs and messaging clients back. And then eventually, they sat me down and they were telling me I was on my phone too much. Like, I had to get off my phone and I had to really like concentrate on what I was doing. And I was just like, okay. And the next day I went and put my 2 weeks in, because I'm like, dude, I'm making more money on my phone than I am here now. So, I don't need this. But it was scary. Like, I'm not going to act like it wasn't scary. Yes, I was making more money, but like at the same time, I'm like, am I going to be able to sustain this? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I mean, an online business, I didn't know anything about it. I'm the only person in my family who's an entrepreneur. Everyone else works the 9 to 5. They've climbed the corporate ladder. And I'm the only person who has like gone out and started my own business. So, I mean, it was kind of scary to put my 2 weeks in, but I was like, I know I can do this. And like all these 40 hours that I'm spending here, if I spent that on my business, I could do even more with this. So, yeah, that's kind of my story in a brief nutshell.
Yes. Whew, a few topics I want to hit on. One, I'm so glad you're the only person in your family. I'm the only person in my family. I'm so glad we have each other. Literally yesterday on the phone, comparing basically notes of how to handle a situation, because there's no manual for this. There's no guidelines. It's all made up, and we get to make the rules. But Brooke and I care enough about our clients, so we want to make sure we make the right rules. So I know for me personally, you've helped me a number of times with some decision making, and I'm glad I can at least basically, I was telling Allie, I'm like, I just answer Brooke with what I think Brooke would have told me. Like, or I'll ask like what my coach would do, because my coach is even a little more hardcore than me. He had an Olympian that he fired because this dude was like 3 weeks out and had a cheat meal that was on schedule with his family. And he's like, okay, you're done. I don't have room for that. And I'm like, dang, okay, time to fire some people. But anyways, okay, so you started working pretty young. Like apparently parents didn't pay for everything. What did you go to school for?
So I actually got my bachelor's degree in psychology and I minored in statistics. So originally I got to college and I was hell bent on being a psychiatrist. Psychology always fascinated me. My great grandfather was a paranoid schizophrenic, and I don't know, the whole thing was just kind of like interesting to me, and just everything that I learned. I mean, just mental health was fascinating to me. And something that I really wanted to make a difference in. It really at the time sounded like my life mission. It sounded like this is what I was put on the earth to do. I really feel like I could help people. Um, and now in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't go that route because I feel like it'd be very draining. I can only imagine what it would be like to, I mean, I'm sure it's very rewarding, but I do like, I have clients, I have a client who's a psychiatrist, and I mean, she's constantly under so much stress, always telling me about how work is so stressful. And then not only that, but like I got out of school and I graduated in 4 years. So like I didn't take summers off. I went to school for 4 full straight years. I mean, the most time I had 4 weeks off every year between classes. And I minored in statistics, which was really, really challenging for me because I'm not really good at math. But I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be like a neuropsychologist. And they were like, you got to do this. You got to minor in statistics if you want to do this. So I did it. And by the time I got out, I was just like so burnt out. I didn't want to go back to grad school. I didn't want to take the GRE. Like, I just didn't want to study for it. I was like, I need time. And not only that, but just being broke, like being so broke in college sucks. Like, I remember having like $5 in my bank account, and like my mom could, like, we were on the same account. So like she could see like how much money was in my account. And she'd text me and be like, hey, are you okay? Like, do you need me to send you some money? And I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm going to get paid, Friday. Like, I'll be fine. I can go to Taco Bell, like, whatever. So I just wanted to get out. I wanted to work. I wanted to live my life. And thank God, because I wouldn't be here today otherwise.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you kind of do use a bit of psychology for coaching. I will say
Absolutely.
the stress level, there's definitely stress with coaching. And I think we assign ourselves stress because really at the end of the day, it is a bit more stressful to coach competitors because if it's a competitor that listens to me and does everything I ask, if they don't do well on stage, that's my fault. And that's a bit of a burden to carry. Can't carry it, don't be a coach. But I'll constantly like second guess myself or look over everything I've sent just to make sure. But for a lifestyle client, if I do the worst, if I fuck up and they don't lose some pounds this week, or they don't quite hit their goals, and I'm not saying like from a health perspective, I'm just saying like I gave them too many calories, they didn't lose any weight. Nobody died. I'm not a cop, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. I'm not the president of the United States conducting a war or not. So if I fail at my job, nobody really gets hurt. And so I think we can try to take the stress down a notch, but sometimes clients are difficult. And I guess being a psychiatrist or psychologist, either or, you kind of have people's lives in your hand a little bit more than we do from coaching. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I can imagine that would be stressful. I did want to hit on, you mentioned working at the doggy daycare, getting your steps
Yes.
in. I worked at Publix about the same age, and they had a cart schedule. You had to do carts at least half an hour, 2 times every time that you worked there. And I would just go ask everybody for their carts so that I could get my steps in. That was before I tracked steps, but I was like, I walk about 3 miles an hour. If I do 3 hours of carts straight, that's 9 miles. That's got to do something, right? I don't know why I was doing so much cardio back then. Probably because I was eating a lot of food. But yeah. Anything else on your end before I jump into my backstory? There were other things, but yeah.
Yeah, we could, I'm sure we'll get into it later. But yeah, definitely I never, I don't know, I kind of always knew I would be doing this. Like, this was my dream at one point. Like, when I started working at the bank, I started getting ideas in my head, and I started seeing other people like Julian and a couple other people who were vegan, and they were doing this, and I'm like, there's no reason I can't do that. And then I started like journaling every day, and I would write literally every day in my journal. By the time I'm 25, I'll own my own business. By the time I'm 25, I'll be an online vegan fitness coach. I'll be making 10K a month. And like, it's just crazy. Like, people always say to like do stuff like that. And you're like, okay, like I'll try it. Like, but you really start believing it, and then you start aligning with it, and then you start acting on it, and then you're there. And then now my journal's totally different, but I'm like, who knows? Like, I did this, but I did it before I was 25. because I believed it and I started acting on it. So maybe the goals that I'm writing now in my journal for 5 years down the road, like, will happen even sooner. So I don't know, but yeah, that's my story, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more later. But yeah, I'd love to hear your story. I know you've had some crazy jobs.
I've worked a lot. That was the other thing. I knew there was something else bouncing in my head. The Julian, the jacked vegans reaching out to you and being like, "Oh, you could totally coach." Like at first, even knowing where you're at now, I'm like, "Look at this guy. He's being like predatory and salesy." But had he not given you a little bit of a push, you might not be here the way you are today.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for Julian because he changed my perspective. He made me believe in me. And I grew up I didn't really like, my mom is everything to me and she's very supportive, but my dad is the opposite. He's very critical. Nothing's ever good enough. You're you're just never going to live up to his standards. So I feel like that's where I get my perfectionism from. And I was really hard on myself for a really long time. And I still am like that in ways, but like at that time, Julian saying that to me, like at first I'm like, that couldn't be me. Like, I don't have a good enough physique. I don't have all this fancy equipment. I don't have like, you know, any awards, any certificates. Like, who am I? And he's like, you don't need any of that. Like, and you do have a great physique. Like, and you do know a lot and all this stuff. And so he really changed my mindset and made me see like, I could do this. I could really do this. So I'm very, 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 very grateful for Julian for reaching out to me, because I would not be here living my dream if he had not.
It's awesome. And I mean, that's what we've determined for the Vegans Who Lift Coaching Academy. You know, this is our first run through with it. Our first 12 students. We retained all 12 for the second month, and hopefully we'll get all 12 again for the third and final month. I thought it was going to be like technical hurdles, like how to best post on Instagram, how to set up your LLC and your bank accounts and your website, and all of these like technical things that took me many years to learn. I'm seeing right now, it's that mindset, it's that journaling, it's the believing in yourself that's been the biggest hang up for our students. And so it's helping me think how we're going to run the next one and how we can be even better at assisting people and helping them learn to believe in themselves, and maybe taking on a few more people that don't believe in themselves and turning it around and have some more Brooks in the world. Like, yeah.
That's why I try to tell, that's why I try to tell all of them. And I mean, you hear me say it all the time. Like, we believe in you guys. Because sometimes that's really what people need. Like, that's what I needed at that time. I just needed somebody to tell me like, hey, you can do this. Because nobody else did. Nobody else believed in me. Nobody else thought I would do this. Like, everybody was like, you're doing what? Like, there's no way you're gonna make it. Like, personal trainers don't make any money. Like, everybody doubted me. So, but it was just like Julian and this small group of people that I had, that I was in this business coaching with, they all believed in me. So that was enough for me to keep going. And then eventually I believed in myself. And then that was all I needed. That was all I needed at that point, was to believe in myself to make it happen. And, there's an old proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can't hurt you. And that's so true. That's so, so true. And most people, they have an enemy inside. And that is the biggest thing that's holding them back. Not the technical stuff like we thought it would be. It's the own obstacles and distractions they create for themselves.
So true, dude. Holy crap. That's a good one. I like that. All right. I'll knock mine out relatively quickly. First job ever, I was like 15. I started really like 14, but I didn't start getting paid until 15. I would watch kids at a nursery at my church. It did two things. It got me a paycheck and it got me out of going to church. So I was all about it at that age. Actually got me 2 long-term relationships, actually. If you're trying to date, be in a place where the gender ratio is way off. So if you're a man, go become like a nurse, or work in a nursery with kids. If you're a woman, I don't know, I guess go be in a men's centric field. Anyways, I'm going to stop giving dating advice, but I worked there, found out real quick I didn't want to have my own kids. So that was another plus. Ended up having, by the time I was 16, I had at least 2 jobs for like the next 5 years. I worked at Publix. I worked at a tire shop. I worked at GNC. I worked as a valet at a hospital. Um, I'm sure I'm forgetting. I worked at a fish store, like an aquarium, twice
Oh,
actually. I loved fish. Those were my animals. Um, I'm forgetting a lot. And then I all of this is before getting my AA degree in criminal justice, and then decided I wanted to become a cop. So I went through the police academy, ended up working as a corrections officer for 3.5 years, mostly on nights. That was interesting. Got a lot of stories there that we can save for another day. Went back to school during that time and wanted to work in finance. Ended up graduating, getting a job in Texas for a few months, and then moved back here right before COVID. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not COVID, but getting laid off, because the small little real estate company that I was doing finance for here, not here, but in Gainesville, they laid me off right when COVID hit. Like the first week, a bunch of people started working from home. The second week, they're like, "See you later. We'll let you know if we're going to hire you back." I never heard from them again. So I ended up working for someone who is now a very close friend, and he runs his own business. And so I got to learn, how do you run a business? How do you do email marketing? How do you do customer service on the phone? How do you do inventory? How do you order new products? How do you create new products? How do you put them on Shopify, build a website, YouTube, Photoshop, all the things? And then I did that for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And I remember meeting Brooke. You came to see me in person in June, and I saw what you were doing coaching wise. I saw where I was at. I had been coaching for like 2 years at this time while working full time. And so I would coach people nights, weekends, on my lunch break. I didn't really get a lunch break, but sometimes I would sneak in some client check-ins during the day in the bathroom or whatever. And I started to make as much money coaching as I was working for my friend at his business. And I made that really hard decision once my coaching income was more than my regular income, that I was going to try and do this full time. And it was scary. It was scary because you think like, oh no, what if everybody quits tomorrow or whatever? But like, really, how much guaranteed income do you have from an employer? Like, what's more likely? Is one employer going to fire you, or 20 clients going to fire you overnight? Which one's more likely? Now, granted, something could happen that prevents you from coaching. You could lose your eyesight or your hands or whatever. And like, I've even looked in with Johans to see if we can get insurance for that. Apparently not. But that was what led me to leaving the 9 to 5. I think I had always wanted to have a business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. I had no way of figuring out how to scale it or decide what I wanted to do, even though now the answer seems very obvious. I don't think I believed in myself either. I mean, I definitely did not believe in myself. There were a few times where I was like, just gonna try this, and if it works, I'll keep doing it. Same with leaving. Like, I don't think I fully believed in myself quitting my full-time job, but I was like, I need to take this risk and see if I can. So now you got our backstory. Now I guess we could give some like tangibles on leaving the 9 to 5. I think the
time
first one,
management.
yep. If you want to
Yeah,
leave a
because
9 to 5, get yourself a 5 to 9. Start working in the evenings. Start a job. Like, unless you already know how to do something, like I could go back and work a corporate job and then go back to coaching in a few years if I wanted. But if you've never done it before, are you watching Netflix every night, or are you building your business? What are you doing?
yeah,
Um,
I know a lot of our coaching clients, some of them are struggling with finding time to make a post or set up a client's workouts or whatever it is. And I know for me, like similar to you, I'd go in the bathroom and answer some messages real quick, or on my lunch break. I was lucky I had an hour for my lunch break, so I could do like a 30-minute call with somebody. 2 15-minute calls with somebody if I had to. And in the morning, I would just get up super, super early, like ridiculously early in the morning, bust out a few things, go to the gym, work out, do a little bit while I worked out, between sets. Is that ideal? No, but you got to do what you got to do when you got to do what you got to do. And then I'd get home and I'd do more calls. I'd take calls on my commute home. Just really fitting it in anywhere I could. Now, at this time, it wasn't like a chore to me. I was so excited about it. It didn't feel like work. Like, I was so excited to get on these calls with people. Like, I'm like, I can't wait to tell them about what I have to offer and tell them how I can help them. And I loved posting. I loved engaging with people. Like, it was a blast. So I could have stayed up all night doing it. Like, it wasn't hard for me at that time. Sometimes now it does feel like work, but I remember just getting started. Like, if I went to bed at midnight, I was okay with it. Like, I loved what I was doing. And I feel like you kind of have to have that a little bit. It has to feel like whatever your why is, of course. Like, you need to feel like you're making a difference. You're saving animals. You're being the change. You're showing people you can be fit and healthy as a vegan. Like, whatever your why is, at that time, to me, my why completely overrided being tired, being, hungry, being out of time, needing to go to bed, needing to get up later, sleep in later, all that stuff. Like, it was just too important to me. So I think that's really important too. So yeah, how would you say you managed your time? You just kind of worked it in a similar way?
Yeah, I mean, when it first started, I just had like one client, so that was super easy. But when I started to have a roster going, yeah, I worked 9 to 5, sometimes 8 to 5. I had the option to come in an hour early. So in that case, I would get up an hour early and work on clients from like 7 to 8, try and get caught up on anybody that had checked in overnight. Go to work for the whole day, try and get to anybody that I could while I was at work, and then go to the gym. And then my cardio time at night, I would be replying to clients. And then when I get home and I have my computer, I'd work on plans. And sometimes I would end up having to work till midnight and then get up and do it all again. Like, sometimes it was hard. Weekends became catch up time. Weekends became time that I could knock out plans or call people. And now it's like I don't even know what a weekend is. I don't ever take a time off.
I didn't
I've been
even think about
scheduling
weekends.
blocks. Yeah, I remember when you were saying you got 4 weeks off for school, and I was just like, if God was like, all right, all your clients are on pause for 4 weeks. What are you doing with your life? I'd be like, I have no fucking clue. Sleeping
Yeah, I
for two
know.
of them. I got 8.5 hours of sleep the other night. That's the most I've had in over a year, and
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
still woke up tired, but it's okay. I'm gonna get more. Um, Anywho, I forget where we were going. Time management, I think, was what we were at.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just gotta want it. I mean, you gotta make time for it. I'll be honest, if you got kids, it's probably gonna be harder than if you don't. I remember when I had stepkids, one of the hardest things I had to say was like, they're like, "Hey, can we watch a movie tonight?" And I'm like, "Sorry, guys, like I told this client I would get their plan done." I don't necessarily regret that. My mom used to do the same thing. She would work from home and she'd be like, I can't talk to you right now. I got to take a work call. And I'd be like, you were right there. You could talk to me if you wanted to, but you don't want to. You know what? It was a good lesson for me to learn as a kid. Like sometimes you're going to have to be patient. And sometimes you're going to have to make sacrifices if this is what you want. And I'll say this to anybody listening. If this is what you want, whether it's coaching or another business, if you want it, you'll make it happen. If you truly want it, it's going to happen. Same as I feel like Brooke manifested it for herself. She journaled. I had always kind of wanted it, but when I really wanted it, that's when it happened. Um, I think, well, there's so many different aspects to talk about, but don't. I think the biggest issue that all of us have had probably is starting. For me, probably for 5 or 10 years, people asked me if I coached, and I said I don't know enough, or I don't have any clients, or no. Finally, I just said yes. My ex at the time, she was like, "You're an idiot if you don't take this person's money." And I was like, "All right, well, I don't want to be an idiot. I guess I'll take their money." Not exactly the nicest way of getting into coaching, but somebody pushed me almost the same way Julian pushed you. And we're pushing these 12 clients like we told them this week. I don't care if it's free or not. You're getting a client. You need to have a client. You need to start. So whatever your business is, start. It's not going to be perfect. I guarantee it won't be perfect, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. You just got to start to start. So
That's
that's
a good point. Yeah, and a lot of people that was me. I was hung up on, oh, I gotta have the good camera. Oh, I gotta have a laptop. I gotta have this. I gotta have that. Like, no, those things all come later. You need a phone, and everybody's got a phone. Like, you can do it. People overcomplicate it, but again, it's creating those obstacles instead of just starting. I think it was Jordan Peterson. I was listening to a motivational speech. I've been really enjoying those lately. He said something like there's two types of people in the world, and there's the people who just start, and there's the people who wait to have the feeling to start, and there's people who wait and wait and wait and wait till eventually they feel like starting. And then there's the people who start because they need to start to get the feeling. And the person who waits will always wait and they'll never get anything done. And the person who just starts, they'll be ahead of the game before they even feel like starting. So I think the biggest thing, and just like with a fitness journey, it's so similar how, I mean, really anything, going after any sort of dream, whether it's a business or a fitness journey, they're so similar in a lot of ways. Like with a fitness journey, you think about people, it's very similar to being like, well, I got to get in shape before I go to the gym. Otherwise, people are going to laugh at me and stare at me and look at me. And it's like, no, you don't have to get in shape before you go to the gym. That's what the gym is for. But there are people who think that, oh, I need to lose like 10 pounds before I get in the gym, or whatever it is. I need to buy all these supplements before I start. That's the least of your problems. You just need to get going. So I
It
think
just
a lot of people fear the risk of failing.
mhm. They fear the risk, so they self-sabotage. I got to lose 10 pounds before I go. Well, you damn sure know well you're not going to lose 10 pounds. You're not going to change anything. You're just creating this fake rule. I think that's another thing. Mindset. I wanted to like make a podcast or a post on this because when we're born, we do whatever the fuck we want. We shit in our pants. We eat what we put whatever we want in our mouth. We cry when we feel like it. We sleep when we feel like it. And we get a little bit older and we realize there's these things called rules. Parents make rules. You're not allowed to climb on the counters. You're not allowed to stick quarters in the electrical socket. There's all these rules. And then you get a little older and you realize there's laws. Like, oh, we're not allowed to take from this person without paying, or we're not allowed to use this drug because this company doesn't make money from selling that drug. You have to use this drug because this company makes money from selling that drug. You realize, I'm being a little bit funny, but also serious. You learn all these laws. And then I think that's like a bell curve or like a little bit of a circle of life. Just because it's a law doesn't mean it's moral. It's legally fine to go kill an animal and eat it right now. Any animal. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could go kill a dog and eat it. As long as it's not somebody else's property. I don't think there's any law against that. And then you start to learn there's rules. So your parents told you all these rules. You're white, you can't marry a black person. They told you that you can't be vegan because you got to have protein from meat. Like whatever those rules are that they told you, they may or may not be true. And then if you keep going further, all the rules you told yourself. I have to lose 10 pounds before I go to the gym. I'll start a business once I create my full website. Or I got to wait until I have the perfect application form to take on a client. Once you get rid of those beliefs, you got a clean slate, you can do anything. So I think a lot of this is unwiring your brain from what everybody's told you and realizing in business, there really aren't rules. I mean, all the parts of Brooke and I's contracts and how we conduct business with clients, those are all made up on our end. Now, I'm not going to enter into a legally binding contract and not keep up my end of the deal. There might be legal repercussions, but you get to determine what the rules are that you want to follow and that you want to enforce, and get rid of all those beliefs that limit you. One way that I like to do it in the gym and also with business is to really put some skin in the game, put something on the line. Say we're taking leg press. You got 8 plates on there. I don't know how strong you are. And you go get 10 reps. And I say, your best friend your child, your parent, your significant other is going to die if you don't do 10 more reps with perfect form. Can you do it? Even if that first 10 reps were hard, most people, if I had their significant other in the gym with a gun to their head, they'd probably get those next 10 reps. And then you can also apply that to business. Myself, right now, we're towards the end of April. If my whole family was going to die, if I didn't sign 10 more clients before April was over, could I do it? You're damn straight I could. I'd be on the phone. I'd be on the street. I'd be hustling. I wouldn't be sleeping. I'd be making it happen. Guess what? My family ain't going to be kidnapped and killed at the end of this month. So if I really wanted to get 10 clients by the end of this month, I could do it. It's just do I want to. So for you guys listening, what do you want? What are you willing to do to get there? It does not have to be perfect, and it shouldn't be perfect to start. That's how you learn. If you hit it out of the park like your first week, probably haven't learned anything. You just got really lucky. So I don't know.
That's a great point. No, but that's a great point. I didn't even think about like the social constructs that limit people in their dreams and their desires and living a life that they're proud of. It's like you said, we enter the world and the world is our oyster in a sense, for lack of a better vegan term. And then, we go on and we get bullied and we get picked on for what we wear and what we look like. And like you said, we get reprimanded in school or by teachers and bosses and coworkers, and it just goes on and on and on. And then eventually you're kind of, you're in a paradigm in a sense, kind of a lot like being vegan and not. You're told all these things and eventually you kind of believe it and you shape your personality in the way that you live your life to fit into this paradigm. So it's hard to be different for a lot of people. It's hard to stand out. It's hard to be the one in the room that everybody's eyes go to. And as you were saying, like, it's almost a game. You know who comes to mind is Elon Musk. Elon Musk has completely just like hacked his life and just pretty much shown the world like this is all a game. Like, it's what you created. I mean, Dogecoin, for example. I
forgot about that. Yeah.
Like, that should have never even been a thing, but it was a thing, and it's still a thing.
A private company going to the moon, like, and Mars.
Buying Twitter. Yeah. I mean, all the crazy stuff he has done. I mean, he's done some crazy stuff. And he's just basically saying, like, look, like, this is all a game. Like, once you can get out of that mindset, like you're, an animal trapped in a cage, basically, like, you can you realize, like, life is truly what you make it. Like that Hannah Montana song. I don't know if you're a Hannah Montana fan, but I loved Hannah Montana, and I always think about that song, like, life's what you make it. But truly, it's so true. And so, and like, that's kind of where we are. It's like, our life is what we make it. Like, we could, if we didn't want to do this anymore, we wouldn't have to. We could go work a normal job. But if we needed to hustle, if we needed to get 10 clients, like you said, by the end of the month, we could do it. It's a mindset. And the other thing that you mentioned that I wanted to hit on was, what's going to keep you going. And I think for a lot of people, commitment is hard. Like, whether it's with a fitness journey, which me and because we coach people, or a business, because business is going to take the same level, if not more of a commitment than a fitness journey in some ways. And real commitment, that means doing what you said you were going to do long before and after that feeling leaves, where you were super motivated, you were super excited to start this business. That feeling's gone and you're still doing what you said you were going to do. A lot of people don't have that level of commitment, but it's something that you need when you're going to go after your dreams and you're going to pursue the life that you want, because there's going to always be obstacles. And law of attraction, like we've kind of talked about a little bit earlier, I mean, life will give you challenges to test you. Do you really want this? Are you really going to make it? Like, I truly believe that sometimes our hardships, they're just challenges from the universe, and we have to push ourselves, and we learn a lot about ourselves through that. But if you want to achieve any sort of dream, any sort of greatness, you've got to push yourself through the obstacles and the challenges to get there. And it's just part of it. And it's a mindset.
Yeah. 100%. I'm trying to think of more tangible things we can tell people to do. Outside of, honestly, I think the most important one is believe in yourself and take some risks. Like I do think that's the biggest thing, but I don't know how many people are ready for that.
True.
I know, like, if I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago listening to this, I'd be like, I'm not ready for that. That's not, that sounds great, but that's not me. So maybe get like a business plan or an outline. Like, what would you like to do? What, reverse engineer it. How much money do you want a year? Okay, I want 100,000 a year. Okay, let's say 120,000 a year. That makes the math easier. I want 10 grand a month. Okay, how are you going to get 10 grand a month? I'm going to work with clients. Okay, how much are you going to charge them a month? I'm going to charge them 500 a month. Okay, how many clients do you need then? I need 20. Okay, how are you going to get 20 clients? Reverse engineer it that way. Start with where you want to be at and go back the other direction and build yourself some action steps. Or just start. Don't have the end game figured out. Don't limit yourself. I used to think 50 clients was the limit for me. Now I think, like, I really wanted 100. I can do 100. My coach does 100. So why can't I? Get started.
Another tangible item I would say is to have some sort of mentor. Somebody who's done it before, and maybe you don't want to be a fitness coach, maybe you want to start like some online shop. Maybe, I mean, there's all sorts of businesses, tons of small businesses. Maybe you have a food truck, maybe you have some cool online vegan bakery. I don't know what you're doing, but somebody out there has done it before. And the best thing that you can do is, just like in my situation, Julian helped me quite a bit. And also just being in that group with other people who were at the same place I was, they were barely just getting off the ground, and just seeing what they were doing, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Everybody was very open about their failures, and it was a safe space. Like, we could all talk about, like, we bombed this call, but here's what we're going to do different. I think that's really helpful. And that's what we're doing with our coaching academy, is everybody there has, I mean, me and John. And we do have some people who are a little bit more experienced than other people. So we all have each other to lean on. I think having a mentor is so crucial and can really put you ahead of the game. And, like, if you don't have anyone in your life who has emulated some sort of life that you would like for yourself and that you could seek advice from, hire somebody. Like, I've done that so many times, and I've benefited from it every single time.
I will say the best decisions I've made in the last couple of years is hiring experts. That is the best decisions I have made for myself. So Brooke is 100% right. Brooke would not be Miss Meatless Muscle if Julian hadn't reached out and Brooke hadn't said yes. I wouldn't be the bodybuilding vegan if I didn't have my own coach for almost 2 years before that, and then my ex telling me that I had to start it. So finding someone you can learn from and reverse engineer. If you want to be a fitness coach, you should have a fitness coach, or go through somewhere like the Vegans Who Lift Academy or another coaching academy. That would be a great spot for you. But not everybody's going to want that. Other people are going to want other things. So you got two options in my book. And here's where you can start writing down to work towards your goals. Let me pick something that I know nothing about. Running a flower shop. I'm sure there's some sort of academy or coaching mentor online that you could Google that has shown people how to set up a flower shop, how to order flowers, how to sell them, how to market them. Great. That's one option. If you got extra money and you got more money than time, go that route. If you're like, dang, dude, I work a full-time job. I barely cover my bills. I can't afford that. Then go get your ass a part-time job at a flower shop. Be a lowly employee. Learn how to care for the flowers. Learn how to fill up the pots with soil. Learn how to talk to the customers and run the cash register. Then get yourself a promotion. Become a manager. Once you can manage your own flower shop, you can start saving. You can take out a loan. Find a way to go buy your own flower shop. Like, guaranteed you can do it. I used to think I wanted to run a gym. My first thing, I was going to go get an assistant manager or a manager position. Actually, Crunch, put this out there. This is how much I freaking believe in myself. Crunch Gainesville reached out after I had quit my full-time job and said, hey, we want to bring you on as an assistant GM. We're going to pay you $55,000 a year. Are you ready? I said, genuinely appreciate the offer, but I'm going to pass. I like working with my clients. And I wasn't quite making that much with clients at the time, but part of the stipulation was I'd have to let go of all non-in-person clients. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. But it made me think, if I ever wanted to run a gym, maybe not a crunch, but if I wanted to have my own gym, it would make a lot more sense for me to go get a job there, be a manager for 3 to 6 months, and reverse engineer the shit out of it. So anything I've ever done that I've done well with, I mean, even the Vegans Who Live Coaching Academy, I've had my own coaches for a long time. Brooke's taken a lot of business courses. I have a brand manager, aka Sean in the back here. I've taken a lot of the things he's taught me and applied it to this course. Brooke hooked me up with Johans. If you guys are looking for a financial advisor, send us a DM. He doesn't get referrals. We don't get anything from this. He's just good at what he freaking does. That's been a huge help. And then most recently, I just signed up for Spanish lessons. And you know what? I'm paying for it. I could get it for free. I could find it on YouTube. I could use Duolingo. I could get a person to do it for free. I guarantee it. But I'm not going to show up on time, prepared, and with my homework done unless I'm paying for it. So I'm paying for this. So I want to hold myself accountable. Anyways, I just rambled a lot, but y'all go get that. Should be step one. Learn your industry inside and out. And while you're doing that, though, start. Even if you're at the flower shop and you don't know shit about flowers, find somebody you can put on a wait list. Find somebody that's going to buy a rose from you. Find somebody that's going to take a pot soil class with you. And you're going to get told no a lot, especially if you're new to the industry, especially if you don't have all the credentials. But eventually you're going to go yes. And then another one, then another one. You're going to build your resume. I have 0 certifications. I got a lot of experience. I got a lot of transformations. I got a lot of people that want to listen to me. And that's because I've just been in it, doing it for so long. You can go the certifications route if you want. That's an option. But for me, getting real world experience was what benefited me the most. So whatever business you want to be in, unless you're creating a brand new business that doesn't exist, I think like Elon Musk creating Mars missions, like that was probably brand new. Actually, I did read his book. He ran into some issues. Like part of the issue is only one country made this part of the rocket and only another country made this part. And so they could charge whatever they wanted. And so he was able to cut the cost down to like 3% of what it normally costs because he cut out all the middlemen and all these countries jacking up the prices. So if you want to be Elon Musk, I might not be able to help you. But outside of that, if you want a semi-normal job that's your own business, go learn from somebody that's a little bit above you, hire an expert, get a job, and then do it yourself.
And I want to just note at any level too, because you may be at a point where you need someone to teach you the craft, which is like you were saying, like working at a low level employee in the flower shop. You learn how to take care of the flowers. That was like me working at that gym as a personal trainer. I had some knowledge, but I needed more to really be able to coach people and help people. So I learned the craft. But then it's like, how do you sell your craft? How do you market your craft? You could be a great personal trainer. You could have awesome transformations. You could know everything about what you're doing. Doesn't mean you're a good business person. Doesn't mean you're a good salesperson. Doesn't mean you're good at marketing. And that's where Julian stepped in for me. And that's where, like you were saying, going online, looking for some amazing, successful flower shop to teach you the ins and outs of the business. It's a whole different game of like when you're marketing and you're selling. And I mean, that's a whole different type of psychology, strategy, everything. So like I said, I was a great personal trainer, but I had no idea how to be a salesperson. I had no idea how to do marketing. And that's where my coaches help me. And that's what we're doing with the coaching academy too. In some ways, we are helping some of them figure out how to be good coaches, but mostly we're telling them, you have everything you need. You have great content. You have the knowledge. We're here to help you take that to a business level. And that's what's important. So you may be awesome at what you do. You may already be there. If you're not there, then you need to go through the process of learning the craft. And like John said, hire a coach. Like if you want to be a fitness coach, hire your coach. Go through the process. See how they do meal plans. See how they do workouts. Once you got that down, you got the knowledge, then figure out how to market yourself. So I think at any place in your career, you can always benefit from having a mentor, no matter where you're at.
Yeah. I think if you're like me and Brooke, like bootstrapping it, starting off on your own, if you're your own CEO, you are the head of finance, you are the head of budgeting, you're the head of marketing, you're the head of day-to-day operation. You're the head of everything. You're the head of HR. How do you want to handle HR complaints on yourself? What are you going to put up with? What are you not? Like, those are all decisions you're going to have to make. And so if you're a vegan coach and you want help, please check us out. Send us a DM. We are starting to take a wait list for the second academy class that we're going to run, probably starting in the next month and a half or so. And I think if you're listening to this years from now, hopefully we're on like class like 20. Because it's really fulfilling. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people with this aspect because it is hard to learn how to market yourself. If you're not in a vegan or coaching position, the marketing game might be different for your sector, for your field. And in that case, I'm trying to think of like some genuine advice. You can try to do it all yourself. You can create your Instagram account, create a Facebook business page, maybe try running some paid ads. Like, those are all options. But if you're in something completely different, like a flower shop, it doesn't really help to have a great Instagram account. Even if you got 100,000 followers, your flower shop is probably local, probably not shipping flowers. So what I would do is go become friends with people you might think would be your competitors. For me, if I viewed Brooke as like, oh no, I gotta beat Brooke, I gotta be better than Brooke. She's been in this game longer than me, so I'm gonna learn all I can about her and try and beat her. Where the hell would I be? I don't even want to think about where I'd be right now. But like, the people that are in that same spot as you might be able to help you. Go find another flower shop or find something similar to flowers, whatever, and ask them, like, how do you guys do your marketing? Do you do the newspaper? Do you have business cards, referrals? Like, well, how did you build your business? And I mean, some of them might tell you to fuck off, but other ones are going to be genuine people that want to help you. If they truly love flowers and want everybody in the world to have flowers, they're going to help. So I think that's another thing, is like, reach out. I would offer, like, can I take you to lunch and ask you some business questions? Or could I pay you for a consultation? Not just, hey, you're doing the same business as me, I want to copy all your things and give you nothing for it except take your business. That might not work well, but start that conversation. That could be a huge area for you to glean some insight. And it's something I've done. I mean, I'll ask other coaches, where do you primarily get your clients? And then I compare that, and then I try my own things, and I see what works for me. I think I've given Brooke some little tips and tricks here. One that I will even keep a secret. Haha. But can't give out everything for free. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're rambling. I'm rambling. You're not talking. This is all me.
No, I think that was all good. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and that was one thing I was kind of surprised about in the vegan community is I will say most people are not very competitive with each other. Now, there are a few exceptions, like some I know personally don't do anything with anybody, no collaborations, nothing. But that's a scarcity mindset. And I feel like making friends, building a community is so important. I mean, we've straight up had, even just besides us, like, we've had other coaches come on here and promote their coaching on our podcast. We're creating an academy, pumping out other coaches that potentially could be our competition, teaching them everything that we're doing. Hey, here's my contract, copy it. Hey, here's our meal plan, you can copy it. Like, literally, that's what we're doing for people. So I think it's really good to build a community. There's always things that you can learn from other people, and like, even me and you, like, our programs aren't identical. Like, we do have some things in common. We help each other, like, we'll give each other advice, but it's still not identical. I think there's plenty of space for everybody to be successful. Different people are going to resonate with your story. So like, somebody who resonates with me is going to be different from the person who really resonates with you. And we all have different things. We all have different strengths. We all have different stories. So I think that's really good advice, is to not see everyone as competition and to rather build a community with those people.
Yes. I agree 100%. And then I was brainstorming as you were saying that, so I'll just jump into something else. Sorry.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, we talked about that for a minute.
I agree. I was just actually thinking about our academy. We are really like pumping out a bunch of students that could be taking our jobs if they wanted to. But yeah, there's plenty of room, and everybody's unique and everybody's individual and has something different to offer. And I do feel that coaching and fitness and veganism are all growing. So it's not like we're fighting for a smaller pizza that we all have to share. It's a bigger pizza that we're all taking a slice from. Anywho, whatever business you're in, I think the next step, once you've gotten started, that's the first one. Don't even think about this until you're started. After you're started, think about scaling. How can you scale? How can you be more efficient with your time? How can you take on more clients or bring on more sales? Also, think about how can you run multiple businesses out of one? So for me, I mean, I have coaching, but then a lot of my Vegans Who Lift Coaching Academy students were prior clients of mine or current clients. That's one way to funnel them in there. I do affiliate referrals. So people that buy my protein or buy like the Say Grace or buy different supplements, I get a little bit of a payback from there. So I'm finding ways to turn one client into or one customer into many customers. So back to your flower shop. If you got a flower shop, um, sell the fertilizer, sell the lights for the people that grow plants indoors. Start thinking outside the box. How can you add more value? Maybe you make your world famous cookies at the flower shop so people come from cookies and flowers. There's different ways you can do it. And then I think finally, like, be yourself and add your own touch. I know for me, like, I feel like two things I really do well as a coach that not everybody does. One, I push for form reviews, video form reviews. I encourage clients to send me those. They take a lot of time. There are days that I do not feel like watching 30, 40, 50 videos of clients, but I do because that's one of the best ways I can help them with their exercises. So that's one. The second thing, I will often ask them how they're feeling. I do have on their check-in form, their weekly check-in form, what's something you're grateful for this week? That's usually if I've fixed it on all of them now, it's the first question they answer. Before, how are their bowel movements? Before, how is their sleep? How is their training? It's, what are you grateful for? I want to put you back into that positive mindset. Even one little thing, no matter how bad your week was, find something that you're grateful for. And so, like, some of what I do is mindset coaching. I had a client. Oh, I got to shout this out. He said, I think he said, I'm sorry. My form was bad here. I was really off balance on these Bulgarian split squats. I was actually reviewing that video this morning. And I said, I don't want and I don't need any sorries out of you. I appreciate you doing something hard. Bulgarian split squats are not easy. They're not always fun, and they take a ton of balance. I appreciate you stepping outside your comfort zone and doing something you're not good at now so that you can be good at it later. And that's where I want to come from. I want to encourage these people. Anyways, that's my own little spin. I'm Mr. Positivity combined with sending me videos. That's my style of coaching. Not everybody does that. And so anybody listening with your style of coaching or with your business, you can add your own twists that are unique to you. That's how you're gonna stand out from the rest. That's why there's never too many people in one industry, because you can always revolutionize that industry and make it your own. So anyways, I digress. That's getting long-winded.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. A lot of people separate like personal life and business, and depending on what your industry is, sometimes it's beneficial to tell those personal stories, like the obstacles you've personally overcome. And sometimes it's really hard to do that. It's hard to be vulnerable, but it almost always pays off. Like my post about me gaining weight, that was a really hard post for me to make, and I put that off forever and ever and ever. But I really wanted to make it because I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to be real. I wanted to be honest. And like, I just kind of had an epiphany that like so many women feel exactly how I do. Like, and they need to know that I feel this way. And it's like probably my best post in the past 3 months. So, it's like it truly helps when you're honest about your story, you're authentic to yourself. People always will know. Like people can pick up if you're being authentic or if you're trying to be someone you're not. Always be true to yourself, and that's the best way that you can build a business. And then I was going to add, so what was your other point before that? Do you remember? You made another point before. Damn. It was really good and I wanted to
sell multiple services, like offer, like turn one customer into many customers.
Oh, yeah. That was dang, I think I forgot what I was going to say about that. But again, yes, very important. Thinking outside the box. Like you said, working with multiple companies, like there's always trying to get creative. So like get your foot in the door with one thing. But then it was like, even with me, like I wanted to start my coaching business, but then I always had like, okay, well, maybe I'll also have an ebook. Maybe I'll also have some apparel. At some point I would like to do a podcast, whatever. So get one thing started, and then like you said, start thinking about those other streams of revenue, because that can always be helpful, and you're creating an ecosystem for
Yeah.
yourself. So like me and you, like we have multiple people who have signed up with us because of the podcast. We're not making any money with this podcast. Zero. We don't have any sponsors. We don't get paid. We don't do anything. Like this is literally just us, one, having fun. We wanted to do a project together, and two, just giving value to you guys. It's hard for you guys to get to know us just through Instagram, just through all the noise on social media. So this is another good outlet. But we've had people really resonate with our stories. Like I had your client Greta reach out to me yesterday about, she's like, you keep talking about your protein ice cream, and I really want to ask John if I can work this protein ice cream into my macro. Just stuff
Oh,
like that. It creates new conversations. It creates more people in your community. And so it's just another way to continue to create leads for yourself. But even if they don't convert to clients, just having people support you and share your stuff is important. Maybe they don't spend a dime, but they might share a post, or they might share an experience, or, oh, I heard something hilarious on this podcast, this Vegans Who Live podcast, and maybe that person who's listening needs your help. So I definitely feel like creating those relationships through other companies, through other people, through other ways of engagement is really important for building your network.
yes. And so if you enjoy this podcast, I wanted to keep going and be here, share it with all the people, give us a review, a rating, a 5-star rating on Spotify or wherever you listen. Like that would make my day. So I know you're listening. I know you're thinking about it. Go do it. Go do it. I'm waiting.
Yes.
Thank you for doing it. You rock. Speaking of someone else who rocks, we got Tyler Grimm. He's a friend of mine. He dropped a question for us. I told him I promised we would answer it on this one. I try and play it on my phone. Sean might add it in post production, but Brooke, let me know if you can hear it.
Okay.
Hey guys, Tyler Eats Vegan here. Huge fan of you both. My question, and hopefully I'm not 100% caught up in the podcast, so I hope you didn't already answer this. But when you're on a cut, like you're, low calories, trying to lose weight, how do you handle workouts when you have like zero energy, if that makes sense? Should you stay at full capacity? Should you lower your weights a little bit? I noticed that when I get to like day 4 or 5, I'm super drained, and it's pure willpower that's pushing me through these workouts. And I'm just wondering if you're supposed to fight through it, or go less. Just listening to my body feels like I should eat a little bit more, but at the same time, my goal is to lose fat so that I can then start bulking again. So I hope that all makes sense. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Tyler. Ooh. And he goes by Tyler Eats Vegan on Instagram. I'm like 99% sure that's correct. Couple things. I pull up Instagram to check, and Brooke, you're the first person on there on my feed.
I think that
Anyways,
was right. I looked him up. Yeah.
yeah, to answer Tyler's question here, jumping right in, stimulants. Just do crazy amounts of stimulants, whether that's caffeine or like the hard stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Stimulants do help, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm going to answer one part that stuck out to me, and then I'll let Brooke field part of the question. We can bounce it back and forth. He said by the 4th or 5th day. I don't know about you, but I'm not training, especially in a deficit, 4 or 5 days in a row. I need more rest days than that. Like I'll go maybe 3, and then I'm getting a day off. Today is my day off. Oh my gosh, I was so looking forward to it, and I only trained the last 2 days. So if you're training hard and you're not eating a ton, you might need more rest days. For one.
I totally agree. I was gonna say caffeine. can be really, really helpful just to give you a little bit of a boost if you're in a big deficit. But yeah, same. I don't ever train 4 or 5 days in a row. I would be wiped. That would definitely impact my performance. So, even if you're not in deficit, that probably would impact your performance at some point. Typically, I'm doing like really lately, I've like 2 days on, 1 day off. That's kind of helped me quite a bit. And then, depending on how much of a deficit you're in, I don't know if he's in a prep or not, but you are going to have some willpower. Some of it is mindset, just going into the workout and just doing your best. Obviously you don't want to get injured, but you do want to try to at least maintain your weights that you've been doing to keep your muscle, and to keep the stimulus. But yeah, caffeine a little bit, if you can do some caffeine, take some more rest days, and yeah, definitely go in with a good mindset. Like, I'm going to push today, get some good music going, get some good music that gets you hyped up. I'm like loving motivational videos lately. Like, I listen to that on my way to the gym. And by the time I get in the gym, I'm like, I'm going to fuck some shit up today.
Oh, I love it. I agree with everything there. Some of it is mindset. And then some of it too. I mean, like, if you're deep in prep or deep in a cut, you're just not going to be at your all-time best every day you walk in the gym. And so for me, when I'm in prep, I try my hardest to hang on to the weights I'm using. Like, let's say I'm doing, just make up some numbers here, 225 for 10 reps. Maybe by the end of that prep, I'm like 225 for 7 reps or 6. If it goes like below 6, I need to drop some weight. But I try my best to keep the weight on the bar the same, even if I lose a few reps. That's like an acceptable thing to me. I feel like that's easier than going from like 225 down to 200 pounds for 10 reps. It's like, for me, it feels more like I've lost strength when I do it that way. So a couple things there. But I mean, I would assess your rate of loss. If you're losing more than 1% of your body weight per week, you might be, and this is like on average, long term, not just like a quick little water cut or something like that. But like if you've been losing for a month now and you're 200 pounds, 1% of 200 pounds is 2. So 2 pounds a week would be about the max you'd want to lose. If you're losing 4 or 5 pounds a week, you might be losing some muscle. Like if you're doing that on average over and over and over again. So monitor that rate of loss, and as long as it's within the acceptable range, like Brooke said, caffeine, take an extra rest day, meal timing a little bit. I mean, do you take an intra workout? I would recommend it. I don't go to the gym without it. Shout out True Nutrition. But yeah, I mean, an intra workout's another thing if you're not already doing that I'd look into. Tyler, you know me on Instagram. If you have questions, shoot me a DM. If anybody else wants to be an awesome freaking person like Tyler, shoot us your message at veganswholiftpodcast.com, and we would love to give you a shout out on here. Brooke, I'm hungry. It's been almost 2 hours. I've only had
Me
one meal
too.
today.
Same. I ate just before I got on, and I'm hungry.
When I say I brought us on so you can take us off.
Yes, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Please leave us a message, like John said, and make sure to like, subscribe, share with your mom, your grandma, your sister, your brother, your best friends, your worst enemy, and Alex's goats. Can't forget Alex's goats. All of the above. Everybody you know, everybody in your circle. And thanks so much for tuning in. Love you guys. See you next time.
Bye.